What is going on, everybody? Welcome on in. It's Monday. Hope you guys had a good one. It is Lineman Life Live. I am your observer, Lineman Uche Nwaneri, here with my co-host, Jay Blay. He got the cigar, he got the stogie out.
Woo! Hey.
Dustin Blaylock, ladies and gentlemen.
How about them Cowboys?
Stogie. The Cowboys are playing tonight. Their rivals, the Giants. He's ready to go, ladies and gents.
Yeah, I figured I'd treat myself. You know, we don't.
You
get
ain't the only one.
We don't get the prime time game too much no more.
Hey, you know, I feel you on that one. I myself got me a little special something for the occasion. Duval in the house. We broke the curse.
Yes,
I got a
did.
fresh black
in a big way.
In a big way. We kicked the doors down, son. So I got the black and mild. Gonna save that for later on when we do talk about the Jaguars, because it's a noteworthy game of the weekend. Week 3, overreactions, of course. We're going to talk about some of the more notable games from Week 3 in the NFL. Of course, we'll browse through the scores, but we'll focus on a certain number of games. And obviously, with our audience, we want the chat to be involved as well. But make sure you hit that like button. As part of that participation, subscribe to the channel if this is your first time on the live stream. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you can get notified whenever we do post, whenever we go live. First off, though, you know, I try to stay away from this particular story just because, you know, I didn't want to read anymore about these just dysfunctional organizations and the shit that people do behind closed doors, partly because, I mean, some of that stuff, it's more personal. Let them live their lives personally and deal with those consequences. And some of it is that people just grab onto these stories and try to use them as their bullhorn for whatever message they want to put out there about whatever it is they think they're being aggrieved about. And I'm just tired of reading about all that. I was just tired of it. So I kind of just waited for some of this to kind of just start moving so that, you know, we could get, you know, the majority of the details in place beforehand. But obviously you got the Ime Udoka situation. This is a Niger brother who's mixed up and embroiled in.
Get your man.
Oh man, he is in the stew. He's in the ogusi soup right now. My man is looking. He's down bad right now. The head coach of the Boston Celtics. He's been suspended a year by the organization for breaking organization rules, I guess. And you know, look, I didn't know nothing about this. I didn't know anything about it in this other than the sense of he did something and got suspended. Now details have come out. He allegedly, because again, like, this is people's personal lives. We don't really got a ton of details on it, specifics at least, but we have speculation. And as you know, the internet will never lose when it comes to speculation.
Undefeated.
The internet is forever undefeated. And the internet did its sleuth work, even in this situation. And they pretty much have figured it out. The internet has figured out the details of this already. And we're not even, you know, it's something that really broke last week heading into the weekend. And, you know, of course, we're going to TMZ. The Gossip Kings. The Gossip Kings. We got a little TMZ article here just with a quick update. I guess this was 2 days ago. It says Ime Udoka, a Fair staffer, handled his travel, including Nia's Boston move. How delicious. Celtics employee to whom Ime Udoka had an affair helped make all his travel arrangements, and that job sometimes included organizing travel for his fiancée, Nia Long. Sources connected to the couple and NBA franchise tell TMZ one of the staffer's duties included planning Udoka's team-related travel, and we're told she was also involved in booking travel for Nia to come to Boston or to road games. And there they are, 2017. I mean, Nia Long, I mean, come on, man. That's a whoo. Nia Long is an icon. She a black icon.
Yeah.
Perhaps most upsetting for Nia is that the employee had a hand in Nia's arrangements to move to Boston permanently. Wow. That means, oh, shit.
They was on the phone, you know, corresponding.
Ooh.
This was like, oh, girl, I got you. Probably hit.
Ooh.
I can't even say it. Probably
I
had a boy
mean,
right next to her.
hey, I mean, she could have been on top of dude's junk while she
I'm
was
about
on
to
the
say she could have
phone.
been. Yeah, she might have been topping them off between sentences.
God damn. My boy, what have you done? What have you
That
done?
is, hey, that's a savage woman right there.
Oh, Lord. Okay, where was I? TMZ broke the story. Of course they did. Nia just moved east a little over 2 weeks ago with her 10-year-old son, with Kez, her 10-year-old son, Ime. Wow. I'm a little taken aback by this. I'm like, yo. I mean, okay. I guess he
Bold,
mean
bold move, Cotton.
bold. That's just bold. The Celtics are not releasing the name of the employee, but we're told Nia has been told who she is. I mean, of course. Now, see, that's something that that people are debating hotly as well. I mean, as in my research on this, it was hotly debated whether or not this woman should have been named, because if you're looking at this, with a clear palette, which I guess I've avoided it up until this point, so I have a somewhat clear palette. If you're going to name him and you're going to put him on Front Street, you're going to blast him on this. Not even blast him. I'm just speaking if I'm the Celtics. If you're going to put his name out there,
If you're just going to name him,
and this is a consensual situation. If this
but
was
also,
consensual,
like, how many clicks is releasing your senior whatever the woman's position was? How many clicks is that going to generate? Naming her. They're like, oh, okay, whatever. Next.
Well, I mean, yeah, true enough. But this is also,
but in fairness,
boom. That's it.
And especially with it being a consensual relationship,
with it being consensual,
no allegations of power dynamic. None of that is apparently is in play.
You hitting it right on the head. That's it. If you're going to name him, and this was consensual, and you're going to put out there what his consequences are going to be, et cetera, you got to put hers out there too.
Yeah,
they both got to be, because they both should be getting punished for this. What? Like, come on. Okay, yeah. He's the head coach. You can say you can say what you want about power dynamics, but she agreed. She clearly agreed. So it was not a problem for her. So she should be falling on the sword the same as him and her husband are, because he's being dragged through this and embarrassed as well. But we'll get into that stuff, because there are reactions around the sports world that have also stirred the pot plenty. So we'll talk about that in a second as well. Let's get through the rest of this article. It's not very long, very short article here. So, President Brad Stevens got choked up Friday during a news conference, saying the scandal had particularly been upsetting for all their female employees. Now, don't forget also as well, and this is another thing that I figured out, studying up on this today. There was another staffer who was accused of being the person in the affair, and it wasn't even her. So now she's been pulled through this mess as well. So there's multiple people whose names were being thrown into the proverbial trash fire, and this is someone who was not involved in it, but the only person who's being protected here is female who agreed to have an affair. She agreed to have an affair. She wasn't taken advantage of. She saw advantage in getting, knocking boots with the head coach. She saw an advantage in that.
Well,
so why don't we know who she is?
In all fairness, it wasn't the organization that put out the wrong woman.
Yeah. The organization didn't put that out. That was just the internet taking
by
shots.
Omission, by omission, they're gonna just have a void that's gonna be filled with BS from every gossip blog.
The simple fact that they didn't decide to make that be. I mean, okay, if you're gonna be transparent, then be transparent. Put everything on the table and say, look, this is what happened. If you're not going to be transparent, then don't put nobody's business out there. Don't even say just fire him and say he broke rules. We didn't like how this, how it looked. And because what is he going to do? Sue you? No, he's not. He is going to be getting sued. Then you can find out what happened. Because and we'll see, that's why we got to finish the article. But we'll get to those finer details right after this. But it says here, it's sped it up for 2022-2023 season after what it says was a months-long investigation into his conduct. We reached out to the Celtics for comment, but no word back. Ditto for Nia's reps. Okay, so you go from there. And of course, like I said before, the internet knows what to do. The internet knows how to crack the case. And they did. So let me see here. Let me pull this up. Okay, so these motherfuckers are cold. This Twitter account, I Be the Gambler, has updated news about this, and this was still 4 days ago. So, we haven't gotten anything new, but this is where everything stands as of now. Ime Udoka had relationships with not one, but two staff members. One deleted all social media accounts. The other has turned off comments on IG, both married. One was actually married to a senior vice president in the Celtics organization who wanted the 1-year suspension. So this cat was cool with this. I'd be like, no, I want you guys to set up a boxing ring in the middle of the court, Madison Square Garden, and we're going to bare knuckle fight on the lunch break. I want his ass now.
But I get to wear a mask.
You know what I mean?
Hide my identity.
But Celtics told him to stop on at least one occasion, so the organization knew this was going on. They knew. Ime Udoka did not take the organization's advice. It says here, you can see Ime Udoka greeting Kathleen Lynch after winning Eastern Conference Championship. Now, this is apparently, I guess it was Kathleen Lynch is her name. Kathleen Nemo Lynch. So let me share this. Let me put this up on the screen a little bit bigger. You can see her. She's one of these two women. I don't know which one she is.
Well, that tweet said it was knocking two down, so maybe it was.
It might have been both of them, but you see the walk up here. Hey. So at first I was like, "What? Why is he?" I'm like, "This isn't a woman," and it wasn't him. It was her right here who he was greeting.
He gave them,
and then he grabbed her arm. So you got two of them. So which one is it? I mean, look at his face here. Hey. Look at his
he about to eat that thing from the back. Nasty motherfucker.
This little nasty motherfucker. Look at him. So that was one of these two women, which we found out that one is Kathleen Nemo Lynch. She was the one who is married to the VP. Now there's another. Let me pull this up real quick because, goddamn, this shit got ugly. All right, here is a picture, a more clear picture of Kathleen Nemo Lynch. Now the thing is, her entire social media profile has disappeared. Facebook, LinkedIn. She's on LinkedIn as the head of, as that position from the TMZ article. She's in there as that position, their operations manager. And she's on their website. And this is her. Now, there are pictures that she's married, 3 kids. There's pictures of the kids. I didn't want to, I didn't want to post. Yeah. I didn't want, because somebody put up their family pictures. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Oh, that's wild.
That's wild. That's doing too much.
Honestly, I was better off not knowing who she was.
Yeah. I mean, just basic Becky. I mean, just old, hey.
Becky with the good hair wins again.
You're you know what I mean? You're every day, Your everyday
woman
Becky,
next door.
you know? Your everyday Becky. She's just a go-getter, just doing her job. And, oh, here comes the coach with all the power. And he just takes, no. She wanted that D. She got that D. Now, there's another pic. Oh, okay, here we go. This is somebody, this is kind of how it flowed out.
Kathleen Lynch. Can't 100% confirm it yet, but she has disabled her LinkedIn profile. Her husband reported it to the Celtics organization. Now, again, this is all allegedly. And so when I saw that post, I said, I zoomed in on the LinkedIn. I said, it says Kathleen Lynch.
This is the internet in motion. If the internet were a person, this will be the internet. This is the person who's just sitting there, got his cup of coffee in his hand. That doesn't make sense. Let me backtrack everything.
Twice as good and twice as fast as the feds. I mean, you're not getting away with shit.
He ain't getting away with nothing.
Lynch, basketball operations, Boston, Massachusetts. It goes on to briefly tell who she is. So then I go look at the roster, which someone else put on on Twitter. And you might not be able to see this, but Kathleen Lynch's name is on the screen listed as the team services manager. And so as you're looking further, all of a sudden now all of her pages are starting to be removed. No longer can you Twitter.
Okay, so if you didn't notice, Kathleen Lynch, team services manager, Patrick Lynch, vice president of finance. There they are. You got two people. I mean, the internet will figure it out. They always do. So, it's weird because how do you really, what kind of opinion can you have on something like this where you can't just look at it and say, you know what? Really, is this really any of our business? Should we know this? Should we really know that he was, getting them right? That's something that should be handled, I believe, internally, because it's a personal matter. It's not necessarily a basketball situation. It's a basketball situation because they work in the same building. Now you got to handle that. Now, again, I believe that, fire him. If you're going to fire him, just fire him. I don't know. Maybe there's some type of legal cover that they need to have before they can do anything like that. But I think if you really, I feel like it's better to fire him and not have to give out any details,
right?
And just label it as violation.
If this is a team rule, then that's cause right there. I'm not sure if that's what they were thinking or what the thought process is behind a suspension.
Yeah, and it's not even an NBA suspension.
Are you going to bring him back next year and work with these same people?
Exactly. Like, what are they going to fire? Are they going to have some layoffs now? Like, they're in a situation where they got to make a decision, now for the future. So it would be cleaner and easier if you just fired a guy, say that there were multiple violations of team rules that, unfortunately, after numerous, reprimands, we got to fire him. After we just went to the NBA Finals with him in his first year. Yeah. Sounds weird, huh? But hey, sorry. Go ask him. Ask him what happened.
He'll tell you. Well, you can't say he'll tell you, but
go ask him what happened. Now, of course.
Some things were just better off.
Could any of us have doubted this? There is the inevitable media response to this. And part of this media response, and let me be frank about how I feel about this, because I haven't heard this. I've heard part of this, but I wanted to kind of save the full thing for us to react to here. I honestly, this is part of the reason why I feel like this kind of story doesn't need to be talked about the way it's talked about in sports on ESPN. When you have another story that is magnitudes more directly affecting individual human beings on a daily basis that the media refuses to give its due respect in terms of coverage. And of course, I'm talking about the Brett Favre situation. This is the reason why I don't give a fuck about hearing about these things no more. because there really are more important things to talk about if you want to talk about drama happening in people's real lives. So here is Stephen A. Smith and Malika Andrews, somebody who has been repeatedly like blowing the foghorn of, well, y'all just listen to it for yourselves.
We'll let you
let you guys be the judge. I'm not even gonna put nothing in your ear. But this is, this is like peak, like cringe, like annoyance to me, because this is why I don't want to hear about this particular kind of case, because it's a personal thing that shouldn't have to deal with us when you have things that are much more tangibly important to talk about in the real world. So let's listen in. This is what is this? This is First Take, ESPN.
Stephen A., with all due respect, this is not about pointing the finger. Stop. What became apparent to me in this press conference is that we do not have all of the information here. And it was frustrating to me that the Celtics declined to elaborate or to give more specifics about what exactly the rule breaking was that led us to this point. So that, I just want to get that out of the way first. But to answer your question, Molly, I think what stood out to me, I think what stood out to me is that Brad Stevens, he was upset. That's what stood out to me about what he termed rampant Twitter BS is the word that he used, that women were unfairly dragged into this within the Celtics organization. You could see that Brad Stevens was visibly upset about this. And I also found that to be gross and unnecessary, that folks were bringing in the names and the images of women that is just not a fact. It was purely speculation. And so to me, that.
Well, why was it speculation? Because you guys weren't being transparent. So if you leave it up to the internet is going to start doing its digging. And don't get mad when they figure it out.
You can't leave a void and be upset when the internet fills it.
When it fills, don't be mad. Because, I mean, the internet might not always, look, the internet will always get to the fundamental truth before it's told when you do things like this. Because because you know how many people then just invest themselves in backtracking it and just paying attention to all the branches on the tree, all the leaves dangling on the tree. They start looking at those and they start finding the leaves that are crumpled, and they just start going back and tracking everything. And before you know it, it'll take 8 hours and they'll know. It's the most brute force investigative process known to man, social media. It will go through and destroy lives on its way to the truth.
Yeah, does not give a fuck.
It don't care. It is completely and unequivocally unbiased. You could say what you when you talk about people talking about politics and all that shit, people have their leanings, whatever. But when it comes to a mystery, when it comes to an unanswered to an unanswered situation by way of omission, the internet will find out what the answer is, or they'll get close. They'll get within millimeters of it, if not. But they never lose. You never fool the internet. The internet will get you.
And it's there for perpetuity.
I got into an argument with somebody over this. Not even an argument. I just made a comment to somebody on Twitter about this, and I swear to you, the very response they made, they had a picture, or they had one of my wedding pictures on the fucking post.
Oh,
and I'm
no.
like, Jesus Christ. That was in like literally 5 minutes. So the internet don't lose. Now you can avoid taking an L to the internet. You can get a push. But if you're just gonna leave a void and not be transparent and give the information in full context to the general public, do not be mad when they go and figure it out on their own or they start making speculation. because that's exactly what is going to happen every single time.
And definitely don't clutch your pearls and play holier than thou.
Don't you dare.
When you're doing the exact same thing we are.
You know what I mean?
As if you wouldn't.
Y'all over, as if y'all ain't, y'all like they ain't the ones speculating when them cameras turn off. Where all these sources
y'all are
come
doing
from.
the same thing we are. Y'all digging?
You know what I mean? We're just completely transparent. You know what the internet does? The internet puts all the pieces of paper on the wall and starts just, you to see that red line starts slowly connecting those pins. Starts like you see in the movies. We're trying to figure out a serial killer. That's what the internet does.
You got the big board with all the.
You got the big board, so everybody, the entire
in.
internet realm, the entire world of the internet is standing in front of that board, just looking and scratching their head, like, okay, I see where this is going. Hey, let's try over here. Let's look over here, and they start digging through your Facebook. Let's look over here. They start digging through your Instagram. Let's look over here. Now they just sifting through Reddit. Found it. What's this? Add it to the board. That's what they do. That's what they do. And hell, it's amazing to watch it. It's amazing to watch it because people start trying to put up all kinds of little roadblocks. They start trying to accuse people of being an ist or ism or a gist or whatever. And it's just amazing to see it happen because this is how the internet just flushes to the absolute truth at the end. It gets there. And it doesn't matter what you think about it.
Hey, but in the meantime, we're going to throw so much shit against that wall. See what sticks.
And something's gonna stick. And when it sticks, oh man, it's gonna be like they're gonna march that shit to the city square. And they're gonna lift it up, and everybody gonna be just screaming. And you're gonna see tweets popping up, opinions popping up. That's it. That's how this shit happens. And it's glorious to watch it happen. Because every time you have people who think they can stop it. No, you can't. There's no way.
Right.
So let's keep going.
Brad Stevens, you are not smarter than the internet, sir.
You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. All right, here we go.
That is what stood out. But the Celtics as an organization could have done more. And short of doing more ahead of this yesterday, they could have owned that responsibility in this press conference. I understand that there were legal parameters that they had to operate within for everybody involved. And I appreciate the fact that they brought in outside counsel and did a thorough organization. And I think that is something that was clearly.
Here comes but. I can already feel it. Let's see what the but is, because everything she's saying right now, yeah, that's what the company should do to make sure that they keep themselves to cover themselves from their own liability in this. That's what they're gonna do. But now let's see what comes at the but, because you know what they say about but. Everything before it was a lot you don't really believe. So let's hear when you get to but, everything you say after but is actually what you really believe in, what you really mean to say.
Now that I got that bullshit out the way, let me get to what I really want to say.
Yeah.
Necessary in this situation, but the fact that it was able to go on all day, the fact that we are sitting here debating whether somebody else should have been suspended or not, we are not here, Stephen A., to further blame women. That is not why we are here.
There it is. There it is. She really wanted to say, don't you dare try to blame women for this. Whoa. First off, and most importantly, these were two consenting adults. Now, unless they were not consenting, which I would believe would make it much easier to just fire Ime Udoka, just fire him. Like, yeah, boom, this is easy. Oh, harassment, boom, get him out of here, boom, it's over. That would be the easiest thing they could possibly do. It would save them paperwork, lawyer money, everything.
Yeah.
They just get rid of him. And you clean and cut. You ain't even got to pay him no money. It's over with for him.
Right.
But that's not what this was. This was
I have read some reporting that it evolved into something less than consensual. Maybe not. Maybe more like harassing.
I don't buy
Right.
that.
Exactly. This isn't a criminal case. We're not gonna.
Don't even try
There's
to
not
fucking
going to
turn.
be any.
Yeah, there ain't gonna
smoking
be no
gun.
flipping this. Yeah, don't be over here moving goalposts after you already done. After the internet found out what happened, don't try to add an ad lib to it and say, "Oh, it evolved to." No, we don't believe that. Like most, workplace relationships to become intimate when they're consensual. They're consensual, and and the reason a lot of the times why they get caught is because it starts getting too out in the open. They start getting real bold with shit, and then they get caught.
Or
Somebody snitches on
maybe
them.
someone did try to, maybe she did want to end things and he persisted. We'll never fucking know. So like that's why all this is pointless, because this isn't, a legal. I mean, there's not going to be a legal case, more than likely.
Patrick
we're
says
just
here that
guessing.
he says that he was harassing her afterwards. But afterwards of what? They've been having an affair. What is the afterwards?
I mean, at some point, if you want to stop, you are fully within your rights to, like, hey, look, my husband's getting smart.
He's getting
gotta-
close. He's getting close.
I went home last night and he said it wasn't, like it normally is.
Well, this is what I remember reading earlier today, was that he caught her because she was taking his phone calls outside, and he heard her conversation on that fucking ring, on their ring camera. Technology will fuck you.
I mean, you got to go in a goddamn safe
I mean, you got to be
room.
smarter. Yeah, you got to be smarter than that. First off, why would you be talking on your porch where you have a ring where you can look and listen from that ring? You don't have to, and the ring will notify you when somebody's at the door. So as soon as you walked out there, it's going to notify him she's out there. And then all he has to do is hit play, and it's going to show and let you hear what she's saying. Like, come on. You didn't think about that? If that's how she got caught up, then, hey,
we got to go. We got to be full Joe Pesci in Casino. We talk face to face.
You know what I mean?
Or in codes.
We got switch cars 3 times on the way to the spot.
I got to cover my mouth.
Got a car in different parking garages, wearing sunglasses to cover half your face. No identifying features. But it's a mess. She got caught being messy. So if she got caught being messy, then it was still consensual. There was no harassment going on. She's taking his calls. She's making sure she's not by her husband. Why are you still taking his calls? Why you ain't blocked him? If it's not consensual anymore at this point, why ain't you blocked him? Why haven't you severed all unnecessary connections? Now, of course, you work for him, so there will be necessary interactions, but he's not going to, if he's going to be so bold as to do that the open space of work, then he's going to get his own shit caught.
Yeah,
and
he's fired on the spot.
Yeah, and he's going to get fired and nothing's going to happen to you. But consensual means you both were in on this, which means you both should suffer similar, if not exact, consequences. I mean,
I'm with that.
And we should know who you are. If he's going to be named, you should be named, because y'all are both staff. It's not like it was the VP's wife and she ain't worked for the Celtics and he just met her after games or something. She worked. She was an employee, so she's fair game. Like, wow, that's where, to me, it's like, okay, so you don't want equality when it is truly cleansing equality. It's equal, a level playing field where both are treated exactly the same because they both committed the same offense with one another. And, they didn't commit a crime, but as far as the policies of the company,
they broke the team rule.
Exactly, they broke those rules. I mean, that's it. I don't care about no other narrative but that. Is that if you're going to name him, which is going to affect his life, is going to affect his family's life, which is going to affect his career prospects, then she should suffer the same detrimental effect. You're going to be named. You're going to be put out there. Y'all both were involved in this. It doesn't matter who tried to stop it at that point. You got caught in it. So, what do you want us to do? It's your husband who reported it to us. Apparently, it's her husband who reported it to the organization. So everybody's name should be put out there so that the equal embarrassment and shame can go around a full circle and everybody can get it. Because that's how it's supposed to be. When
gotta
shit
walk
hits
through the
the
streets
fan,
of-
it's supposed to hit everybody.
You gotta walk the streets of King's Landing.
You
Shame!
know what I mean? Shame.
Shame!
Shame.
Shame!
All us self-righteous assholes. Shame. Shame.
man.
Look at you. Knowing we done our own damn dirt.
I mean, just read the Cheater's Handbook, man. There's
You know what I mean? You got to keep 3 to 6 degrees of separation over here. Shoot, if you want to survive. All right, let's keep going.
This is why I can't remember the movie, but like why smart people aren't always good criminals because they're not used
because
to
they
being
don't think
criminals.
like a criminal.
You gotta think this shit through.
You got to think it through in terms of liabilities. You got to think it through in terms of surveillance and security. Like you got to know, you got to keep your shit on point, right? So let's keep rolling through this video.
First of all, let me be very clear. I don't appreciate where you're going with that.
He about to go in.
I'm not blaming.
He said,
He about to go in.
no disrespect to ladies out there. No disrespect. He said, bitch, first off. Not basically. That's what he said. But yeah, he said, hold my beer.
He went full Denzel in Training Day.
But Ime, you're going with that. I'm not blaming anybody but Ime Udoka. He deserves, the fact of the matter is, I've said he deserved to be fired if they were going to fire him. If you're not going to fire him, then don't fire him. My issue is all of this being publicized. The point that I'm trying to make is just like you're not mentioning. Excuse me. I listened to you. You're the one telling me to stop on my show.
Oh, you ain't never gonna cut off
Okay, that's
Stephen A.
number one. Number two, I've already said he deserves to be fired, or he deserves to be there and handle it internally and privately. If you're not going to handle it privately, if you're going to publicize it in that fashion, then obviously it provokes everybody wanting to know, okay, well, who are the parties involved? When you have
now, you got to think to yourself, why is that always everybody's reaction? Because it's only fair to know who everyone is in this situation. If you're going to put it in the public space, put it all in the public space. There is only certain circumstances where you can look at that and say, you know what, we can't talk about this. We can't talk about that. But this is 2 grown adults, like I said, consensual. Put their ass out there. They deserve to be put out there. If they're going to be working in the same workplace and be dumb enough to get caught doing that, having a relationship and being messy, then put them on blast. Put them on blast. What is that going to do? Stop them from getting a job? Well, maybe the head coach doesn't get another head coaching job immediately. But, I mean, come on, look. Urban Meyer's on fucking Fox Sports 1 as we speak. The worst fucking coach in the history of the NFL. There's still work out there for you. You know what I mean? Like, you can still get work. Let's keep going.
This isn't like criminal behavior.
Yeah, this isn't criminal stuff we're talking about.
People aren't not hiring you because you're, got questionable morals.
Ethics, questionable ethics. You know what I mean?
Right. And I mean, who's even in control of that?
Who is the arbiter of that? Our own mind, our own selves. So everybody has a different version
the shit
of
that we
what
made
ethics
up.
is. Yeah, the shit we make up.
have Amina Smith in Boston and other women pointing out the fact that there were women who were wrongly implicated in all of this. It's a disservice to them. I didn't come out with the report about a consensual relationship. I didn't come out with the report ahead of time leaking that they were going to suspend him for the year. They did that. And my point is, considering how pervasive this kind of stuff has existed in professional sports for many years, my whole point is that, excuse me, make sure that you handle it in the same fashion it has always been handled. You could have fired him, and then we could have speculated till the cows come home, but he's gone. But to keep him there, keep him employed, but in the same breath, suspend him for a year, then also that year is indefinite. That is the issue that I have. Nobody's trying to protect Ime Udoka, and certainly nobody is trying to protect, is to excoriate the women involved or anything like that. I'm talking about how things of this matter are usually handled from an HR perspective, from an organizational perspective. That is not consistent with what we have seen throughout the years. That is the only point that I was trying to make. I'm not trying to attack anybody. And if anybody deserves to be attacked, it's Ime Udoka for putting himself in this position. I've made that very clear. I'm just talking about you got owners and everybody else. They know the kind of stuff that's going on. You didn't say anything about anybody else. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about them. They didn't say anything about everybody else all the other times this stuff has happened. But now when it comes to him, it's all over the place. That is my issue. That is my only issue.
I appreciate that clarification. And I think that getting back to.
Okay. So look, essentially he's saying what I think we all can agree is kind of the truth. Like, if y'all gonna fire him, get rid of him. But if you're gonna hold on to him and you're gonna talk, have this plastered all over the news, well, why is it just his name to me that is getting plastered all over the news when it should be the person he had a consensual affair with, because they both share equal blame in this situation. She's married to the VP of finance. He got power. He got influence.
I mean, enough to get him suspended.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like there was an imbalance here. If she was, and again, like I said, I don't believe for a second that it went from consensual to non-consensual, because, I mean, that's just not, come on, man. It's like flipping a light switch. That don't just happen. And let's be honest.
In today's climate, it could be.
When a motherfucker puts the D,
instantaneous.
when you dick down a chick.
But I mean, that don't mean it's yours forever.
This is crass. It doesn't mean it's yours. But when you do that, what tends to happen? We've all seen wedding crashers. I got a stage 5 clinger.
Stage 5 clinger. Wow. Oh, man.
I mean, come on, man. We both have experienced this. I'm quite sure.
Yeah,
You
right.
just already you already know. Like, it's like, damn, stop texting me. I just want to. I'm about to go to sleep. Look, I gotta work in the morning. Come on.
Oh, this is a good point. He said Matt Barnes bailed on him.
So
Hey,
Hey, look.
If Matt Barnes thinks this shit is foul, if
Matt Barnes thinks this shit is messy, then there's no hope for this brother.
Because he done some messy shit his damn self.
I'm not defending this cat. I mean,
30 hours.
Bro, that's like rule number 1 in business. Hey, keep your dick out your employee. Don't be doing all that with your employees.
I mean,
because that is the ugliest. That will become the ugliest mess you will ever have to deal with, ever.
Yeah, doesn't matter the industry. Don't fuck.
Doesn't matter.
Never fuck staffers.
There ain't a motherfucker who's come out on the other side of that situation without fucking battle scars yet. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Matt Barnes don't got your back. When he says, yeah, this is bad, it's bad. So, look, at the end of the day, I am a strong believer in, what is meant for the public will consume. And what is not meant for the public should never be exhumed. That's how I look at it. Don't be pulling shit out the ground that people don't need to be hearing about unless they need to hear about it.
I mean,
I don't think that this is something that they needed to hear about in the way that it's been
exactly,
put out there.
Exactly. Because like Stephen A said, this has happened countless times.
Yeah.
In sports.
This is
politics,
it's happening right now. There's somebody's wife and husband getting it on right now on a major sports team.
There's some other coaches sweating.
Yeah, there's other coaches that are just like, shit.
There's some owners sweating.
Who are going back and checking their backlogs. They're deleting text messages.
There's some players sweating.
Yeah. So, you got to be careful.
This sort of thing is normally handled in-house.
Yes. And this
right,
is
wrong. I'm not the judge of that. That's just
it's not
normally
our spot.
happens.
It's not our spot. And the thing is, again, it doesn't matter. Like, to me, the reason why I think this was put out here in such an open format is because, in a way, like Malika was like she was saying, this is where, I mean, I don't even know how to put this because because it feels like they do it for the whole oh, see, we are on, your side when they're talking about the women. You know what I mean? We're on the women's side. This like he did like they were consensual. So they both did something wrong. So treat it that way. Don't treat it like it's him preying on women in there, because we don't know that, for one. And two, what we do know is that the woman he was dealing with, she was in on it too. And that's where I think that's the line. That's the line. That's where the line is drawn, I think. Once they both are shown to have been complicit in it, come on, man. There is no way that you should only have one person being fried on the skewer for it. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
Could they say the other party has also been relieved
disciplined
or suspended or whatever? Yeah, disciplined.
Something. Let us know that something happened to her. Because something should happen to her.
I don't need a name, but
I don't need a name.
Tell me there's equal footing here.
Yes. You don't have to give me her name as long as you let me know that she's getting dealt consequences too. Then I'm like, okay, that's it. That's done. Move on. Now, we'll move on from this. Because as I've been saying for months, there is a bigger story afoot. And the simple fact that we cannot get this story to stick permanently, it just really is quite disturbing that more people are interested in, and the media itself is more interested in talking about people's personal affairs rather than the disgusting fraud that Brett Favre has perpetrated against the state of Mississippi and their citizens with the help of other elite level people in the government of Mississippi, the poorest, most uneducated state in the union. But this is a video update today that has some little bit more info that even just further goes to show you that he knew exactly where this fucking money was coming from. He should be charged. He should be charged. He should be federally charged for welfare fraud. But let's look at this video from ABC News. It just, they got it. This here, to me, they put in a piece to the puzzle that just makes it that much more clear about what the hell is going on here.
Welcome back. NFL Hall of Famer Brett Favre is facing new questions about his possible connection to an alleged $77 million welfare fraud scheme. Those new questions are also bringing new fallout. ABC News' Steve Osunsami has the latest.
Favre puts it up.
Brett Favre is considered one of the best NFL quarterbacks of all time.
And you know what? That ain't even true. They actually broke down his stats. They broke down Brett Favre's stats. He's not even in the top 20 quarterbacks to ever play the game. But I digress. Let's keep going. It pissed me off because I watched the full video that broke down everything. His entire statistic platform. He is not a Hall of Fame level quarterback by the standards you would think a Hall of Fame quarterback is judged by.
Hey, you get them rings.
And he has one ring.
He only got one? I thought he had two.
He has one ring.
Shit.
Yes. Him and look, Aaron Rodgers, who also only has one ring, has 10 times the claim to be in the Hall of Fame.
His stats are crazy.
Now Brett Favre has multiple MVPs, but so does Aaron Rodgers. But also, Aaron Rodgers was 100 times more efficient of a passer than Brett Favre. But that's all nonsense. Let's continue on with this.
And the fallout over the growing welfare scandal in Mississippi has moved SiriusXM to put its weekly radio show on hold. State investigators allege that a group of some of Mississippi's most influential people spent more than $77 million that should have gone to poor families on pet projects like this volleyball arena at the university where the Hall of Famer played college football and where his daughter played volleyball.
We've seen a ton of welfare money that's intended for the poorest folks here in the state of Mississippi flowing to people who just simply did not need it.
In text messages shared in court filings, there are conversations in 2017 before the volleyball center opened where the former quarterback is asking former Governor Phil Bryant for money to build it. And then more text messages 2 years later, this time asking the former governor to help pay for an indoor football practice facility at the same school that was never built, writing that it would give USM's football program instant credibility and USM football will become relevant again. The governor wrote back that use of these funds is tightly controlled. Any improper use could result in violation of federal law. According to court filings, Favre didn't give up, writing the former governor again about the new volleyball center a few months later, saying, "We obviously need your help big time, and time is working against us." The former governor responded, "But we have to follow the law. I am too old for federal prison."
The deal.
Damn.
Now, for one second.
Hold on, real quick. Small thing unrelated. Having the second O in parentheses, does that mean he doesn't know his grammar?
Yeah, that's what he meant to say. That's what he meant to say.
He doesn't know, like,
that's
too
correction.
old.
He said, "I'm too old to go to federal prison."
That's Mississippi for you, not knowing the difference between 2 and 2.
2 and 2. You know what I mean? But look, listen, that's clear right there that the former governor himself is saying, without saying it, bruh, that's fucking illegal.
Or use an outside line for this.
You know, hey, why are you calling my phone? Why are you texting me?
I'm not trying. Don't do this, Brett.
Yeah, Brett, what are you talking about, Brett? You're talking about breaking federal law here.
But also taking meetings with him.
You know, then meet with him that night. Hey, man, you can't fucking text me that anymore, all right? Like, don't text me that stuff. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Scores or something.
Yeah,
this is why the internet's having a slower go of it, finding out all the information here, because you're dealing with politicians who are used to deceiving
and obfuscating the truth.
Not basketball coaches and just random people that work in fucking finance. They're not always used to being deceitful and covering their tracks.
Knowing what's traceable. Well, no. I mean, yeah, yes and no. I think on a local level,
we will find it.
So.
It might just take a little longer. Once you get to like governors and that kind of shit, you know how to.
They play a different game. They play a game on an analog level.
When they cheat, God dang it. Well, not Bill Clinton.
I mean, shit. Bill Clinton, I mean, man, shoot. To think we tripped over Bill Clinton getting his dick sucked in the White House. I mean, and now look at what happens. We got White House. We got White Houses trying to flip the government, and nobody and half people are ain't even batting an eye. But let's. It says here, not it says here, but what I mean to say here is, if you look at just the questioning, then you know that they understand what fund they're talking about. They're talking about money from that fund. Why else would you be talking about federal prison? Because that's federal money. And it's meant to be used. And what the money is it's not actually technically, it's a welfare fund, right? But it's a welfare fund based on the new version of welfare, which, you know, Bill Clinton put in place back in the 90s, which basically allotted a certain amount of money for each state to use on it. And they could decide how they divvied that up, you know, to use it for those purposes, for welfare purposes. And the issue here is that, of course, you're not allowed to use it for anything brick and mortar. One, that's first and foremost. You can't use this money to build anything. This has to be given to families. So you already are breaking, you know, the guidelines for what you're supposed to use it for, and then you're stealing it like 77 million, like, and which of course Brett Favre got $1 million of that, and he got for speaking events that he didn't speak at, and then he got $5 million for, you know, a volleyball arena, indoor volleyball arena, and he was trying to get an indoor football facility. So I mean, can you imagine how much more money that would have cost? That would have been 20. Look, Purdue did a brand new athletic facility. This was like what, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. Purdue had a brand new facility built. This was state of the art. Last time I was there, 2 years ago? State of the art, 3 years ago. State of the art, top notch, everything, all the way across. Studios to videotape, to do video sessions in for promos, like everything. 40 million. 40 million.
Damn.
And that's Purdue. So can you imagine in Mississippi I mean, look, come on, it's Mississippi, so they're not gonna do it up like
It cost you $5 million to make this.
But you'll be sitting around 10 to 15 million. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
$15 million facility for Southern Mississippi. Sure. Oh, to make football they're relevant again. Okay, yeah, that would probably do it for them, at least in their division.
So if anybody from UT is watching and y'all want to build some shit, holler at me.
You know what I mean?
I'm kidding.
Y'all want some?
I'm kidding.
But
I too am not going to federal prison.
Yeah, I too am too old for federal prison.
Can you imagine Brett Favre braiding some cat's hair, or washing their drawers,
walking with his hand in the back in somebody's back pocket? You know what I mean? He's straight prison bait. You know what I mean?
Day one. I got Brett Favre.
It's fucking blatant, dude. It's blatant, and somehow, and then on top of that, the governor of Mississippi right now is trying to cover up for these guys, and that's the crazy part. It's like, bruh, let them burn. What are you gonna put your skin out there for? You already got a water crisis you're dealing with. You guys don't even have clean drinking water in your largest city. Like, what are you talking about? You can't drink it or shower in it. For real. I mean, if we would have found out you took $70 million out of the welfare fund to fix the water system, people probably wouldn't say nothing about that because that actually is good for the good of everyone's welfare. You know what I mean? Like,
but apparently that's gonna be like $250 million or something. What the governor say?
Well, it's 100 years old. That's why it's going to cost them that much. Because you got to get a new one. You got to get a whole new water system, new piping, new everything. That'll take 10 years to build.
Just in time for it to be obsolete again.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's because Mississippi is so well run. Yeah, it's not run well by any stretch of the imagination, but that don't mean you got to steal from the poorest people there. All right, let's keep going.
Jay is definitely closing in on others involved in this misappropriation scheme.
Favre's attorney says the football legend never knew where the money he was asking for was coming from, saying he only has good intentions with every charitable endeavor he has organized.
Yeah, good intentions to build a fucking stadium.
Yeah, so what's the volleyball facility? That's charitable? No, that's not charitable. Charity is supposed to be something you provide for people who have less than. The university could have built that if they wanted to. They didn't need you to do it, or you could have done it with your own money and never said a word about it. Just put a plaque on the side of the building and saying that I built it. That's it.
Yeah.
And you'd be good.
Sell some more Copperfield.
Nobody's buying this bullshit, Brett Favre. You piece of shit. Nobody buying this.
The former governor has also not been charged or accused of any wrongdoing in this case. And to underline this, Diane, this is about money meant for the poorest people in the poorest state. Diane.
All right, Steve Osunsami, thanks for that. And ABC News legal contributor and host of the Law and Crime Network, Brian Buckmeyer, joins me now for more on this. Brian, what do you make of these text messages with
Brian Buckmeyer? Not what I expected. Go home, brother.
Former Governor Phil Bryant. He's denying any involvement.
Yeah, the text messages really tie Brett Favre to this whole scheme because we've already seen two individuals be convicted of crimes in regard to this, that being Nancy New as well as John Davis. And so when you see these text messages between them saying, hey, if the media finds out about this money, will they find out where it came from? Or even these reassurances that he was given, it seems like Brett Favre knew a lot more about where this money was coming from and that it wasn't meant for what he was trying to do.
And you mentioned Nancy New, who's charged in connection with this scandal. She is now cooperating with prosecutors as part of a plea deal. So how might prosecutors...
Also too old for federal prison.
She is also too old for federal prison. She will be snitching.
If you could send me to the Orange is the New Black prison, maybe I can handle that.
Yeah. Let's keep going.
Prosecutors be utilizing her during this investigation?
So the text messages that we're all talking about and that you showed on the screen just a few moments ago, that really leads to a foundational argument to say, hey, there's got to be more here. What happened in the phone calls? What happened in the in-person meetings? And Nancy New, along with John Davis, who was the head of the Mississippi Department of Human Services, who just got 32 years in jail last year, those two boys said they're going to cooperate.
Damn. They gave that boy 32 years, and he cooperated.
Ooh,
throw the key away.
What kind of deal is that?
For real, what kind
At
of
that
deal
point,
was that?
I'm gonna fucking die in there anyway. I ain't saying shit.
He was the head of human services, so he was the one who had the keys to the department money. He had the keys.
I mean, is
so,
it
yeah,
this chubby fella right here? Is that? I'm assuming.
That's him. I guess that's him.
Yeah,
he already got 32 years. Man, he ain't gonna make it 15 before he
what was the point of that deal? 32 might as well be 100 for him.
They said, look, you might get out to see your grandkids graduate college.
No, that dude about to be a fucking pincushion.
For real. Man.
Operate with this investigation, they're going to be getting a lot more information than just these text messages. And maybe we will see Phil Bryant, who is the former governor, face charges, or Brett Favre and others who receive these funds face charges as well. But it's really going to come down to those communications and the information they give the DOJ.
Now, John Davis, the man in charge of Mississippi's welfare agency during the time of this scandal, he has agreed to plead guilty to fraud charges, and he could serve a maximum of 15 years in prison. So what could this mean for Brett Favre?
Yeah. It's bad because there's a strong connection between people who have already pled guilty and are going to serve serious jail time and Brett Favre. Now, his attorney has come out and said, hey, when you look at that message and he's asking about whether or not the media is going to find out that he borrowed this money, that's a philanthropic individual saying, I don't want people to know my name is out there.
What? I was born at night, but not last night.
I wasn't born last night.
Come on,
like, bruh, stop the madness. Nobody believes that. Nobody believes that. Let's finish this up, then we'll get to the scores.
I don't want them to know that I got this money, but everyone else is looking at it and saying, this looks very incriminating. What else does John Davis and Nancy know that can't be shown in text messages? And that's going to be very detrimental to Brett Favre if it's negative.
Brian Buckmeyer, we appreciate your analysis as always. Thank you.
All right, so we'll leave that there. Look, man, I'm just keeping up with this because at every turn we see, at every turn. Now, even at this, here's the, real quick, here's just a look at the article. They shut his show down on Sirius XM. I mean, they know what's going on. 2 more media companies have suspended their relationships with Brett Favre in the aftermath of reporting about text messages sent by Favre attempting to route millions of dollars earmarked for needy families to support sports facilities. So, I mean, he's already got front office sports. Both Sirius XM and the 33rd team have put their relationships with Favre on ice. His weekly show on Sirius XM. Hey, let us have that. If y'all got a spot open,
right.
Sirius.
Let
us get that.
A slot just opened up.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys got. Looks like you guys are hiring. Yeah, this is today. Yeah, so you guys got an open spot. So if y'all got an open spot, holler at us. We'll be willing to do the work. All right, but I mean, it's clear. It's clear that Brett Favre is involved in the shady shit, and he knows exactly what he's involved in. This is not a matter of if. To me, it's a matter of when. It's just getting a little slower around to him because really they got to take care of the big fish first. He's not necessarily considered the big fish here. But in our world, he is a big fish. And in that respect, what he's done, but what he's done is so egregious that he deserves the same kind of punishment that the big fish are getting. Because you knew where the money was coming from. I mean, it's whatever on the other shit. We know, Brett, we know. All right, let's talk about some football scores, shall we?
Let's lighten this up a little bit.
Let's lighten the mood. We talking about all this drama, baby, but really it's Victory Monday. Woo! Scores from around the NFL, as you know, a certain somebody, even with some of the doom and gloom that we'd experienced in our West Coast ventures, my Jaguars come out victorious in week 3. Not only did we go into Los Angeles in that brand new SoFi Stadium, whatever the hell it's called. SoFi, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care. call it Duval because that's who owns it now. At least when the Chargers play there. You know what I mean? I mean, look, Trevor Lawrence, my guy comes out, has 115.5 quarterback rating, 28 for 39, 262, 3 tuts, no picks, no sacks. Good job, O-line. QBR 71, 115 rating. Look good. Look good. Justin Herbert, you know, hey, he had a rough day. Dude's got broke ribs. They got a little bit more broke in that game. Yes, the defense balled out. Holding Los Angeles to 10 points is huge. Now, they did have some hurt guys, and they did actually lose their starting left tackle. I forget
for the
his
year,
name.
I think. Torn
he's
bicep.
done for the year.
Rashawn Slater.
Bicep. Rashawn Slater. Yeah, Rashawn Slater's a good tackle now. Good left tackle. 4th in Rookie of the Year rankings last year. He was 4th, a left tackle for Rookie of the Year. But Jacksonville got it done. And this was a statement game. That's what this was. This was a statement game for the Jags. Really, I mean, this is probably the most positive outlook you could have as a Jags fan in the last 10 years. This in 2017 have been the brightest of bright spots. So it feels good to be a Jaguar fan. Yeah, it does. It feels good.
Don't downplay it. You know, talk your shit.
Feels good. Feels good to be relevant. Feels good. Feels good. Now, of course, that wasn't the only game of the week, but that was a game that a lot of people expected, the Chargers to come out, take control of that game quick. I had my superstitious doubts, but I still believed in the Jaguars, so I picked them. Against all odds, I picked them, and we did it. Now, moving through the rest of the NFL, we had some noteworthy games. I mean, I think that obviously, and we're going to talk a little bit about this, Miami with that huge win over Buffalo. We thought Buffalo was on some hot shit. Well, let me tell you, those Miami Dolphins team doctors was on even hotter shit. They said, ain't no way. Ain't no way, cuz. Ain't no way. He's good.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see their findings.
He's good. Put him in the game. Put him back in the game. That right there was some bullshit. No lie. No lie. That was some bullshit. This guy was concussed. I watched the game live. I saw the play. I'm like, that is a concussion. That is a concussion. And we'll get to that even here in a second. What I really want to show y'all real quick, I want to show y'all this rage quit by Ken Dorsey, offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. This is like kind of why this is why you play the game. You play the game. These are the games that as an underdog, when you win, this is why you want to win these games. So you can get reactions like this out of coaches. Hey, they saved him. They saved him.
Yeah.
You see that hand come over the screen? They're like, hey, there's a camera. There's a camera.
Boy, I wish we got that audio.
I wish. Oh, my God. I mean, look, he got a little bend in his knees. He's being in an athletic position, tearing his headphones off, slamming them on the table, getting the playbook, slamming it on the table. Got his iPad, slams that on the table a few more times. And somebody's like, bro, no. How do you embarrass yourself like that? That's hilarious.
They can see you.
They can see you. This is on national TV.
Oh, that is too funny.
Look at the background. Look at everybody in the background. Like, oh, shit.
Everyone else was like, there's no one going to say nothing to this guy.
I'm going to act like it's not happening. I'm going to act like it's not happening. Ooh, that's ugly. That's an ugly look. Look, also.
When he goes in to interview for a head coaching position next year, that's going to be the first thing.
So how do you deal with tough situations, defeats, tough losses, things like of that nature? He's gonna show you. He's gonna show you.
Oh, damn.
But look, it was a good game. It was a good game. But I think the bigger story than the game is the fact that they allowed Tua Tagovailoa to go back in the game. I don't understand why they allowed that. I know, unfortunately, I know how that concussion protocol works. I had a concussion officially in the NFL. And once they determine that you had your head hit and that may have caused a concussion, you have a concussion. And you're not even allowed to go back out on the field. You're not allowed to go back out into the stadium. You're not allowed. Even when I had mine, I was like foggy and shit, but I was like walking towards the doors to go back out after halftime because it happened right before halftime. And as soon as they saw me going towards those doors, trainers came running over, grabbed me by the arm, like, no, you can't go back out there. I'm like, well, what you mean? I can't just go watch the game? Like, no, you're not allowed to step foot back in the inside of the stadium's field at all. Like, you have to stay in the locker room.
These were the Jags trainers.
Yeah, these were the Jags trainers. So, like, you're not allowed to go back out on the field once they diagnose it as a concussion.
So how can you bypass protocols? Are they saying that he wasn't tested?
He was. They took him into the locker room. That's when I was like, oh yeah, Buffalo's about to kill these cats. I was like, Buffalo's about to kill him because that cat was actually having a good game. He was making the right decisions. He just got him a first down. No, you're not. They took him into the locker room, and I was like, oh, he's done. Once they go in the locker room with you on a concussion tip, you're not coming out. That's why they're going to the locker room, because they got to get you off the field. But somehow, and the NFLPA has asked for an investigation into this. Somehow he was allowed to come back out into the game.
I mean,
now they tried to say it was his back. They tried to say it was his back.
I mean, that sounds iffy. Is it possible that he just didn't have a concussion? I mean, I can't explain the falling down.
Did you see the play?
I saw it. I was like, I don't know how else to explain it, but somebody let his ass back out there. So
yeah.
How, Sway?
You don't have the answer.
You don't have the. I mean, I'm really perplexed here because, like you say, once they take you off. I mean, I've never even been evaluated for one, but I imagine once you're in the locker room, they probably take your helmet from you. I can't wait to hear how this happened.
This is the only thing I can think. This is the only thing I can think of.
I mean, did he steal someone else's helmet?
When they got to him and they were asking him, "Hey, are you okay? What is it? Is it your head?" I'm willing to bet he said it was his head on the field. By the time they got to the sideline, he realized if I tell them if I'm like I got a concussion, I think I got a concussion, I'm not going back in the game, and this game is too big. I think he tells them it's my back. I hurt my back when I hit the ground. But every indication during that play, because when he hit the ground,
yeah,
his head hit the ground last.
It was like CeeDee Lamb last year, if you remember that. He went up for a catch.
When he went up for a
catch,
straight
straight back, similar fashion.
Boom!
He jumped higher.
Your body falls in that kind
of like
just
a whip
collapsing mode, and your head whips into the ground.
So,
and that's what happened to him. And what happened as soon as that happened, he grabbed his head. That's what they're going to see when they investigate this.
So, I mean, there's independent neurologists, whatever, at all these games, right? Are you telling me that the protocol is just, hey, how you feel?
No,
if so, that dude's going to get fucking fired.
Yeah, if they did something like that, they're going to get fired. But what they do
there's no way it could just be up to the athlete saying, "Oh, my back hurts."
With mine, they put a light up into my eye They put a light up into my eye on the sideline, and they did like the light test, and were looking at my eyes. And they told me to follow their fingers, which I thought I was following it fine. And then they told me to like hold my arms out, and they started pushing on the sides of my arms, and I started to like wobble like just like oh. They're like, yep, there, gotcha, gotcha. Balance gone. Yeah, he's concussed. And that's when they were like, let's go to the locker room. So they took me to the locker room, and they just did the same test again. They looked at me, they talked to each other. They're like, yeah, you got a concussion. You're good. You're done. And that was against New England. But no, like that dude was concussed. He got up and tried to run, and he almost fell on his face. If he didn't have an old lineman there to catch on to,
he would have fell again.
Flat on his face. Yeah, he would have fell again. And then then there's no way you can bring him back out on that field. Like no. But even at that, when I saw him do that, I'm like, concussion, he's done. So I don't know. There's going to be an investigation, and we'll find out soon enough what that situation really was. And I mean, that's not going to end the way that I think Miami hopes it does. I think somebody's going to get fined. I think the team's going to get fined. I think the head coach is going to get fined. And I mean, honestly, dude, I will say this. All bullshit aside, if they sent him out there knowing he had a concussion, even thinking he had a concussion, and allowed him to go back onto that field, a couple people need to be fired. And I'm almost of the mind that the head coach should be the first one to get fired, because you got to know that he can't. You had to have known the moment that he got up and fell around like he was a drunk sailor. You should have known, hey, he's done for this game. You knew. I mean, come on, you can't deny it. You're the head coach. You saw what happened, and you know the first thing that came to your mind when he hit that ground. So don't play that game that I didn't know, because you knew. You're a head coach. That's what they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you, and the first thing that he's going to ask when he got to the sideline was, is it a concussion? Come on. You already know. Everybody knows what this game is, especially if you're an athlete and you played. You know how this is with these cats when it comes to talking about this shit on the field. The coach wants to know now, because he don't want Jacoby Brissett, or not Jacoby Brissett. Who the fuck is it?
Who is the
Teddy
backup?
Bridgewater.
Yeah,
Teddy Bridgewater. Man, after one series with Teddy Bridgewater, first down to third down, and then they came back in 3 and out again. Oh, McDaniel was like,
get that motherfucker back in here.
Get that motherfucker back in this game. We are not going to win with this quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater is not going to do nothing but lose this game. And I'm not even going to say he's going to lose it. He's just not he's not the quarterback who's going to get you the victory. You can't rely on him to do it, which means you're going to lose, because your defense, they're not going to stop these cats from scoring again. You're going to have to score more points to win. And they did. They had to score more points to win. And they wouldn't have done that if Tua wasn't in the game. So when I came back to watching this game midway through the third, because I just knew that Tua was done. And when I came back to the game, Tua was playing. And I was like, wait a second. He had a concussion.
Did I somehow rewind this? What's going on?
I'm like, what is this, the first quarter? What's going on here? But what have you done? You have endangered that quarterback's life. You've endangered his life by allowing him to go back on that field. And if he tries for a second to say that he didn't know, I ain't gonna believe that shit. Because I know you, and we all know, me and you both know, those trainers report directly to the head coach first. Directly to him. So we'll see how that plays out. But that was a huge win for him. Nonetheless, I guess, for Miami fans, I'd be happy. I picked Miami. I picked them.
Yeah,
Stradamus strikes again. I picked them. So you got Miami with the big win there. Colts beat the Chiefs. Didn't think I'd be saying that on Monday. I picked the Chiefs by a long shot. I will grant that the Indianapolis Colts at home, their crowd is a rowdy crowd at home. It gets loud. Not as loud as the RCA Dome did, but, Lucas Oil gets decently loud. But holding the Chiefs to 17 points, you see the argument between Patrick Mahomes, Eric Bieniemy, going into the half, a little bit of turbulence there. I wouldn't say that's anything big to worry about right now, just because frustration when you're a team like Kansas City will probably set in if you're not able to score the points you're pretty much used to putting up, or the offense isn't moving and operating in the way that you expect against a team that you should be better than, substantially better than, maybe not, blow them out the water better, because they still have talent in Indianapolis. They just haven't been playing well. But Kansas City comes up short there. That's going to be a loss that I think that loss stings Kansas City because they know that they should have won that game.
Yeah, these are the ones you got to have.
These are the ones you got to win. I mean, Indy is a decent team playing bad. You can't let them get their morale back up against you. Not against you. You can get your morale up next week against whoever the fuck you played in, but not against us. We ain't that team you get your morale back against. Point blank. We the team that you kind of give in and say, you know what? We can't score 35, 40 points to keep up with them. So if we can get 3 scores in a loss, hey, we can build off something there. There's some positives to point at. But you're still playing against the Chiefs. That's who they are. That's who the Chiefs are. That's the kind of team that that's the kind of process you normally see when you play against the Chiefs. It don't matter who it is. You're not just going to come in there, set the tempo, and just kind of steamroll Kansas City, which it wasn't so much that they steamrolled them, but Kansas City just could never find their own rhythm. So they ended up losing that game.
They're supposed to be the evil empire.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nah.
Well, maybe not evil.
The evil empire. They're like they're like the rebels without a cause. They just scoring left and right. Don't really have nothing, no one thing you can point at except they're just good. They're just damn good. Let's see here. Tennessee had a must win. I mean, somehow they come back. They beat the Raiders. I don't know if that's more, I said that I believe Tennessee's a hard team to beat in Tennessee, and I believe that I picked them. But the Raiders blew it again. They had a big lead and they lost again. Oh, Lord. Cleveland beats the Steelers. I don't think that's a huge surprise to most. I picked the Steelers on that just out of loyalty to tradition. They traditionally beat the shit out the Browns. So, so I just kind of stuck with that. But obviously, Browns better team than Pittsburgh right now, so they get the win there. Bengals finally get right and get a win against the Jets. I don't think anybody's surprised with that. We kind of expected the Bengals to start a little bit faster this season, but didn't happen. But they did get their first win there against the Jets in New York. Baltimore rolls over New England. Mac Jones hurt. He has essentially, he got a broke leg. It's a high ankle sprain, a severe high ankle sprain. A severe high ankle sprain is worse than breaking your leg.
Right.
Potentially, I don't know. Did they say how long they think he's going to be out?
Of course, it's New England, so they're going to be mum.
Oh, they're going to say, hey, he's week to week.
Game time decision for the next 10 weeks.
You know what I mean? High ankle sprain, generally, if it's severe in the way they're saying it is, he might be out for most of the rest of the season.
I mean, did you see the way he was carrying on in the fucking locker room under the stadium? I thought a damn leg was going to get amputated.
Damn! Oh, he was howling.
Yes, I mean,
let's look it up.
Oh man, I've had a couple high ankle sprains.
I don't like to see a motherfucker get hurt, but they're saying he may need surgery. This is an hour ago.
Oh wow!
Likely to miss multiple games. Yeah, we knew that. No, I've had you know what? It's crazy. I had a high ankle sprain my second year that I didn't. That they told me was a 3rd degree ankle sprain or some shit like that. And I was just like, whatever. So I'm taped up to my knee for like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? I'm taped up to my knee for like 2-3 weeks. And then, the next year I roll that same ankle and we're in Pittsburgh. I roll that ankle. I go to they take me in to go to do x-rays on it after the game. Even though I just, I rolled my ankle, but I still went back in and played. Like, yeah, no,
I mean, it's different when you're old lineman, man.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. It's like, yeah, we'll x-ray it after the game, not right now. We got a game to play. But so I go in there to get an x-ray, and this is the Steelers x-ray technicians doing the x-ray. So I'm sitting in there with the Steelers people, and the Steelers head doctor, or whoever their third-party doctor is, he comes in and looks at the x-rays, and he's like, holy shit. He said, how many times have you hurt this ankle? I'm like, bro, countless. He says, no. I said, I roll my ankle all the time. He said, no. But this here, I see down here. He said, I see down here. But this up here, that's high ankle sprains. Like, that's a bad. It looks potentially like you might have broke your leg at some point. Jeez. And I was like, I knew it. Those sons of bitches. I knew it. I knew my shit was rocked. Oh man, it's a dirty game. There's an underbelly to this shit too, y'all. They lie to players about injuries. They minimize. They try to minimize it in your mind, so you don't think it's a big deal because they don't think it's a big deal. That's part of the psychology there.
Like if your kid falls down, if you don't look at them, they pop right up. But if you're like, oh, you're okay, then they start
crying, wailing. You know what I mean?
I mean, we're like the Manchurian Candidate. We can go through we can put up with a lot of shit.
Yeah. Put up with a lot of subtle shit. So Baltimore gets a big win there. Look, Lamar Jackson is still on a rampage. I mean, win or lose, he's putting up hella numbers. Now, there's always a little caveat to these for me, because the regular season is such a compartmentalized, thing. If you understand how this league works, don't get too excited about numbers in the first half of the season, because they don't really matter. The wins do. The numbers don't matter that much. Second half of the season, the numbers mean much more. And I will say this, as much as I'm a fan of Lamar Jackson's, but he has tended to have, at least in the last year, I'm not sure, I might say just the last year, maybe last two, he's had little dips in the second half. I mean, who can forget that they were they were at the top of the division or near the top with Pittsburgh when Pittsburgh went on that 11-0 run. And I believe they got a couple of those big wins, or one of those big wins against Baltimore when they needed it. Baltimore, and that kind of put Baltimore in a real tough spot after that. And then I don't believe they. And then did they make the playoffs that year? No, yeah, they did. They lost in the first round, their first playoff game. They're divisional. I want to see him perform how he's performing now in the second half of the season, because that will solidify that can't nobody fuck with him no more, period. All this stuff he's doing early in the season, I mean, okay, yeah, you're fresh, you're fresher. I expect that. You don't get hit a lot. I expect that, but you'll get hit more later in the season, and then we'll figure out if that's really, if it's really going to be consistent. I think I've always thought Lamar is a good passer. I don't understand what that criticism. I don't understand what that criticism is of him as a passer, because if he's got the talent to throw the ball. I just think that he needs a safety blanket, and Mark Andrews is his safety blanket. So when he's not there, he tends to struggle a little bit more, because that's an easier throw. I guess that's just a receiver he's comfortable with throwing to repeatedly in many different situations. But Baltimore hasn't had a receiving core that's really been able to prop up or help maintain a quarterback's consistency in forever. So
right, they haven't really been built for that either,
and they're not even built for it. So it's you're kind of working against your own interests.
They're out there 22 personnel and all these. I mean, no one plays the way they do, and it's just difficult to get.
It's difficult for a quarterback to go play there. Yeah. Well, nobody want to go play where you're going to run the ball 30 times, and then you're going to have 15 RPOs. So out of the 65, 67 average plays in the game, you're only going to have maybe 20 that are legitimate drop back passes at the most.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm basically a wide blocker.
Yeah. I'm gonna be doing a lot of crack blocks, a lot of seal offs. Like, come on, man. What receiver wants to do that all game? None of them do. That's why they won't go to Baltimore. But anyways, moving on. Chicago gets the win. Chicago barely beats Houston. Look, man, Houston is going to be that team that's going to fuck up somebody's playoff chances. They play too close to every team that they're playing against for this to be, for them not to spoil somebody surprisingly towards the last month of the season. They're gonna mess somebody up. But I mean, look, Chicago is just a whole basket of false hope, because look, the honest truth is that they're not a good team. That's it. That's the message. They're not a good team. But hey, they're not alone, because I also believe that Denver is also not a good team, and they beat the Niners. 10-11 was the score of that game.
Real barn burner there.
A real stinker, real ass biter. Terrible game. The Broncos don't look like a contender. I'll even go as far as to say that this AFC West is not looking nearly as strong as we all thought it was going to be.
We thought it was going to be
NFL.
Like the division.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be the division to beat this year, the division that would conquer the one division to rule them all. But no, let's take a look here. AFC West, Chiefs are 2-1. Broncos 2-1, but that is a false 2-1. Don't get twisted. They're not good. Chargers 1-2, Raiders 0-3. Not looking good. Not looking good. I mean, if you look around at these divisions on the side here, I mean, I would say you have look. Jacksonville is legit. If Jacksonville, if they beat Philadelphia,
look out.
If they beat Philadelphia, you could say they're the best team. They might be the best team in the NFL. And look,
the Eagles are looking like the class of the NFC right now.
The Eagles are the best team in the NFC, and I don't think that shit is close. And they got Jacksonville next. That is going to be a game. That better be on national goddamn TV.
Nah, it'll be on like
Fox Sports 6.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like the lowest fucking network I could think of.
You know what I mean? But the Broncos, just coming back to it, AFC West, not as strong as we thought it would be. Broncos do squeak out the win against the Niners. I mean, Garoppolo, Jimmy G had a terrible game, but I mean, look, Jimmy G gonna give you a terrible game, but I'll tell you one thing. He gonna get them boys there in the playoffs. He gonna get them in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, they're
all
going
right,
there.
Next up.
Faux show.
Detroit falls to Minnesota in Minnesota. Minnesota loses Dalvin Cook, right? Shoulder injury.
Separated shoulder, I think.
Yeah, he's going to be out. He might be out.
He's had a lot of issues with his shoulder, I think.
Yeah. If he has to have something, he'll be done for the season.
Oh, man. That sucks.
Yeah, because he has been having a shoulder issue. If he has to have surgery on that, he'll be done for the season. I'm quite sure. Because I had shoulder surgery when I was a sophomore in high school, junior in high school, from a separated shoulder. And that was like after like the fourth game, and we had like a 10-game season, and I had surgery before the fifth game, and I was in a sling until the next March, until the March following, like. Damn. And they did a scope. They scoped mine. They didn't even cut mine. Like, that was back when they were still cutting cats open. Now they
wow,
quick scope. Yeah,
and that's gonna be tough for a running back. I mean,
yeah, for running back, that's gonna be brutal.
Kind of need that shoulder.
Yeah,
well, I guess Emmitt Smith did play with a separated shoulder, famously.
I mean, you can do it. Look, I played by the time I got that surgery,
I mean, back then they were shooting cats up, and it was a fucking bowl of jelly beans in the middle of the locker room to help you get through whatever you're going through.
Oh yeah, I mean, shit. Even when we were playing, all you gotta do is walk into the training room, be like, "Yo, I need this." Boop. By lunchtime, they got the prescriptions already there.
Mhm.
I never used any of the painkiller prescriptions outside of taking the Toradol shot, and then I did the what was that anti-inflammatory called? Indocin. Yeah, I did the Indocin.
Made you poop green and shit.
Yeah. Oh boy, and if you didn't eat no food before you took that shit,
That
oh
thing would tear your
god,
stomach
you'd
up.
be on the field on all fours, like I'm dying. All right, so Minnesota. I mean, man, I predicted Detroit would go in there and make the statement win. They're close again, fucks, and but they just couldn't get it done. Minnesota, we'll see how they keep it do. Minnesota is one of those pedestrian teams that they got some talent. They got a lot of good talent, but for some reason, leadership has been holding them back. Well, we'll see how they do now that they ain't got what's his name there anymore, head coach. And now Zimmer, and then Dalvin Cook's hurt now. It's going to affect their running game. He's one of the best.
Down there with Deion Sanders at Jackson State now.
Oh, he said, "Let me go ahead and get off these black boys." Yeah.
Well, we got some speed out here.
Eagles beat the crap out of Washington. We knew that happened, and it happened. Carson Wentz looked like garbage because he's garbage, and that was that. Surprisingly, Carolina beat the Saints. That was actually a surprise to me.
I did not see
Carolina.
That.
I mean, I'd have to see the highlights to believe it, truly, but Carolina pulls a dub out, first dub of the year. Baker Mayfield still looked bad in that game. He still looked bad. Let me see what was his stats looking like in that game, because I don't think they were very good.
Oh, it was under 50%.
Oh God!
If not for one throw, would have been around 100 yards. I think he had like a
Baker Mayfield,
yard.
12 for 25, 170 yards and a touchdown, sacked 3 times, 83 quarterback rating. So he was very pedestrian.
Typical.
Very, very pedestrian.
Yeah, typical.
I mean, but then you compare that to, Jameis Winston didn't have as high a QB rating as him because of the interceptions. He threw 2 picks. But, he still went 25 for 41. So he completed as many throws as you attempted for 353 yards with 8.6 a pass, 6.8 a pass for Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is just, he's just not that guy. He thought he was that guy. He did. He thought he was that guy, but he's just not that guy. And hey, it's just sometimes it's that way. It's just that way.
I'm not sure anybody could do it with what he's working with over there. Although,
yeah,
C-Mac went off. I think C-Mac had another pretty good game. So,
come on, man.
Not doing stuff any favors, trying to get a job next year.
Brady would have took Carolina to the Super Bowl.
That's the GOAT.
Yeah. But no, I said it before, and I think it holds true here. Baker Mayfield is his next stop is back up, and that'll be for the rest of your career. And that ain't that's really, bro, you're saving your body. Yeah, you're not going to get the acclaim or the fame, but you were first overall pick, so you will get that acclaim and fame.
Yeah,
they'll call you a bust, sure, but you're going to be in the league for 20 years.
One stop
from the bus stop. Yep.
But hey,
one stop from the bus stop.
A good gig.
Hey, Blaine Gabbert got a Super Bowl ring, my friend.
Chase Daniels made like $40 million.
Backing up. 3-year extension every 3 years for
please sign me up for that gig.
You know what I mean? These cats get an extension for $40 million as the backup.
I can run scout team offense
all day. Shoot. Anyways, keep moving here. We got Atlanta pulling it out. Marcus Mariota pulling it out against Seattle in Seattle. That's a pleasant surprise.
That's two East Coast teams going out west.
And getting the dub. And that's not normal. That don't happen.
That's very rare.
That shit don't be happening. Falcons pulled it out. Again, I said it before. The Seahawks think that what's his name? Damn, I forget his name. Geno Smith. If they think that Geno is the answers to anything this year, which I don't think they do, but do you really want to put yourself through this? Did you really want to put yourself through all this just to talk shit to Russell because you got him out of there? Now you're putting yourself through hell, and who knows if you're going to find a quarterback ever again. But
Russ ain't really cooking right now either.
Russ ain't cooking, but I bet you one thing: that has more to do with Nathaniel Hackett than it does with him.
True.
You know what I mean? We know that. We've seen what he can do. We ain't seen what Hackett can do. Never. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, I could coach Aaron Rodgers. Shit.
You know what I mean? Shoot, that ain't nothing, cuz. You know, so Falcons get the win there. LA gets a win, solid win against Arizona. I saw some highlights from this. You know, Jalen Ramsey got a little bit too hyped for knocking passes away against the Cardinals. You're going against AJ Green. AJ Green ain't bad, but AJ Green, that ain't no D-Hop.
It'll be a different ball game. It'll be a little bit different.
It'll be a different ball game. He got way too hyped, I thought, because it's like, dude, you've already been put on blast by numerous squads before this day. Since the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, there was a little bit of a chink. There was a nice dagger chink in your armor. You got smoked a couple times. Hey, you say one of them was a flag all you want. Hey, I don't call the game. I just saw a guy catching the ball and you were on your face. That's all I saw. And he was 10 yards down the way. But even after that, beginning of the season, he wasn't looking very good. Now he may have tightened things up, but when you want to tighten those things up and you want to keep to yourself until you go up against that next Showtime receiver. And Arizona is not the team with the Showtime receiver. And you're getting way too hyped up. I would have been cool, calm, and collected with them picks. He made a hell of a play. And wait until you go up against somebody like Mike Evans and you pick him off. Then start talking that shit again. That's when people will be like, real talk. I don't want to hear it when you're going up against guys who ain't, who aren't the same guy they were 3 years ago. You know what I mean? I want to see you going up against guys who is that guy now and doing it. That's when you talk shit. And that's when I respect that. I don't respect it when you're talking against guys I expect you to do that to 8 out of 10 times. Shoot. Anyways.
Preach.
Arizona does not look like a team that knows what the fuck they're doing. They don't look like a team that has any real direction. And if number one don't make something happen for them, then they don't look like a team that has really anything to work with. It's just not gonna happen. They don't look like a good team. If he can't make it happen, it's not happening. They just don't got it. And it was so obvious going all the way back to when? That playoff loss. Because that's when they got exposed by LA. You don't got it. We thought you didn't have it. We were hoping you might get it, but now we know you ain't got it. We don't have sufficient capacity. Green Bay pulls out this game was so weird. I watched
another stinker.
It was a stinker. How is this a stinker of a game like that?
This was supposed to be the game of the week.
Supposed to be. But look, whenever Tom Brady goes against Aaron Rodgers, look, I like Aaron Rodgers as a player, but I'm always going to pick Tom Brady when they're going against each other because Tom Brady just, I don't know, it feels like one is just that much bigger and better than the other when they play. But usually, fortunate here for Green Bay, they squeezed one out. Look,
he's also out there throwing at cats like me and you.
Yeah. Tampa Bay's got a lot of issues on their line. A lot of guys hurt. They've got a lot of injuries, got a suspension with Mike Evans, so he was out of that game. Green Bay, their offensive line is kind of back. They got their right tackle back from injury. Yeah. Bakhtari's back. He's been out for 2 seasons, essentially. He's back.
He's on like a pitch count, though. They were like running him out every other series or something.
Oh, yeah?
But he did finish the game, so.
So what was his injury? I thought it was just an ACL. What was there more?
I must have had a setback in rehab because an ACL, even for a big guy, should only be a year. He hasn't played since like 2020.
A year to get back to like being out there, getting all your reps again. Like you might not get all your reps the first year back from it, but then you get all your reps the next year. You know what I mean?
Glad to see he's back. You know, I always love to see, people come back from injury.
Yeah, definitely glad to see he's back. All right, so we got a little video. We got a little video here because now I mean we're done with the scores from the week. We talked about the games that had the most importance. Cowboys are playing against New York right now. I'm not sure what that score is. You can get maybe. I know you're watching 6-3 Dallas.
Yeah, real barn burner.
Oh shit! Halftime, right?
Yeah, halftime.
Oh my god!
It's the field goal going into half.
Cowboys are gonna fucking blow it. So we got a video here of our guy Mac Jones. I mean, and this is not. I mean, it's because I'm curious I want to know how bad this was. But I mean, just looking at his face. Hey, man, I done been there, bro. I done been there. I done felt that pain before. Where you just like, God damn, give me a sedative. Look at this guy's like, look.
Oh,
all right,
poor
let's see
guy.
what we got here. Yeah, that's hurt. That's pain right there.
I don't want to make light of it or poke fun at guys. But the high ankles are a motherfucker.
High ankles are a fucking. I mean, high ankles are bad, dude. I know I've seen guys miss like 8 weeks off a high ankle
easily. But unless there's something else going on, they're being a little ridiculous in that. I mean, yeah, it's okay. You can scream and holler because this shit does hurt. But I mean, you don't have to carry the man down the stairs. It's like it went full Paul
Put me on the cart. Get me out here on the cart. Why I gotta walk?
Right.
Shoot. But I
hope he has a speedy recovery because
what if he
now I got 2 quarterbacks on my fantasy team out for the season or out for extended time.
Oh, you got 2 quarterbacks out.
Yeah, I had Trey Lance and Mac Jones with my quarterbacks. And there's nothing on the waiver wire.
All right, so last order of business for the night, and this isn't something we'll talk about very long, obviously, because it's not something that I think anybody's surprised by at this point. I mean, I think we all kind of thought this was the inevitable path that we would reach on this journey here, but the Pro Bowl is no longer a thing. Pro Bowl is donezo.
Thank goodness.
As far as being a singular game, the Pro Bowl is no longer in the picture. The NFL is replacing the Pro Bowl with week-long skills competitions and a flag football game. Now, for those of you who don't necessarily know, and we feel like we kind of been getting, maybe we had an informant in or a mole in our group, but Urinating Tree, 5 Points Vids, Tom Grassi, That's Good Sports. We all were going to do a flag football matchup during the Pro Bowl week, or during the week of the Pro Bowl in Las Vegas, where me and JB were going to be running as the coaches in a flag football game. And that's something that, we've been kind of, that they're really setting, they asked us to join up and be a part of it. And, of course, I'm like, hey, let's do it. And, we can ref. We ain't chasing nobody. I'm not.
That hand gonna last about 2 seconds.
You know what I mean? I ain't trying. Look, keep the EMTs on call if I'm out there with a flag on. Because the first move I make to the ground, I'm breaking everything. But clickbait sports, that's Scooter McGruger. We were going to be involved with them on that. We're still involved with them on that project. We just basically waiting. We're all in a group where we talk about it. So we're just waiting for the next move to be made on when we're gonna, what the dates are gonna be or what the times are gonna be for all that. We'll have all that information soon enough. They'll be announcing all that stuff on their channels, and of course, when they come on Wednesdays, they'll announce it on here as well. But that's something that we had planned to do. We had talked about doing. But like I said, when I saw this break about the Pro Bowl, I honestly have a lot of resentment towards the process of the Pro Bowl, because the Pro Bowl doesn't really truly give you a clear picture of the best players in the NFL. Because a lot of times the best players in the NFL, some of the best players in the NFL, they don't go to the Pro Bowl because the Pro Bowl is a popularity contest and has always been a popularity contest where names who become household names will forever go to Pro Bowls. I can tell you, with all due respect to Ray Lewis, his last 5 years in the NFL, he was not a Pro Bowl linebacker. He was still a good linebacker, but he was not a Pro Bowl linebacker. And he made the Pro Bowl each and every one of those years because his name is Ray Lewis. And, hey, perhaps he earned that. I don't know. I would say that, he was still a force even in his last years, but he was a force in a certain kind of way for Baltimore, which, again, maybe that gave him that kind of clout, and obviously did, where you would be voted in unanimously every year just because of that. There are a number of guys who got that kind of treatment, who took up the places of guys who never went, who were better than them, who performed better than them statistically, and never got those votes. Again, a guy like Fred Taylor, he only made the Pro Bowl like once. And Fred Taylor was a Pro Bowl running back for a long time.
Right. Yeah,
so,
it's about being in big markets and marketing. I mean, everything is.
Yeah, there's a whole marketing campaign that goes behind Pro Bowl, getting Pro Bowl votes. Hell, even it was my 6th year, or I think it was my 6th year, my 5th year in the league. One of those years, the Jags were promoting me, Maurice Jones-Drew, and Mercedes Lewis, and they would play videos on the Jumbotron. Go vote for these players, and it was me and Maurice and Mercedes. I mean, both of them went to the Pro Bowl that year.
Oh man, yeah. I think the closest I ever got was an alternate one year.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even get the the Jags were telling me they thought I would get like an alternate because if I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember exactly how that played out, but they were just like, yeah, we think you're probably going to get an alternate, because what's it called? Who's the guy? Is it Michael King or something for the Sports Illustrated guy?
Okay,
yeah. Was talking about me with the head coach, and he was like, I'd love to, but you guys aren't winning.
There's a lot of moving parts in that process.
You know what I mean? So,
but hey,
that has something to do with it. So
I got my check though.
Hey, you know what I mean? I got a good thing. I got all the other incentives in my contract covered in the first year, so it didn't matter if I made the Pro Bowl. I got all AFC honors, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, ask cats we played against.
Oh yeah.
Players
Oh yeah. Anyways, not mad that this is going away. I also think it's become, kind of a mockery of a game. It's like, and I don't blame players for making it that way. I wouldn't be out there tackling a goddamn person if I was in the Pro Bowl. For what? Right. Why am I going to risk getting hurt when they're already trying to keep me from getting my money? I'm not going to give them an excuse by going out here and getting hurt in a fucking exhibition game.
Right.
And these are all people who are in.
I'm not even sure I would do the fucking flag football game.
For real, I wouldn't even do that. Anything where I'm risking injury as a runner, as a catcher, as a thrower, as a lineman. I mean, I would imagine you're not going to be a part of a flag football game. They're not going to make you a part of that. But
yeah, it's just 7-on-7 probably.
It's going to be a 7-on-7 thing probably. They're probably going to have major 7-on-7 tournaments during that week for 7-on-7 leagues. I think that's where they're going to try and make the money and create a new avenue of income for the NFL. It's to just make that the week that all of the national 7-on-7 leagues have their finals at the Pro Bowl, wherever the Pro Bowl is. So they can get hella money off that. That'll put those 7-on-7 teams on TV, and that's going to get them more money. That's more profits there. So I wouldn't be surprised at that. But I think it's just kind of like it's time. It's time to do away with that kind of all-star event, because we found out eventually it doesn't really do anything for the players. And it's not even the way it's decided isn't necessarily balanced and getting the right players in there, because you're not supposed to have the same guys The same guy isn't as good as he was in his best year every year for 10 years straight.
Year.
It don't happen.
In year 15.
He's still the best guy at that position? Oh, okay.
No way in hell. But
You know
also,
what
I mean,
so
football's not a sport you can play at. You know, you can play at baseball or basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really difficult
You
to
can't
play at football.
You either going 100% full speed or you're not going, or you're going to walk through. You're not going. It's hard to, because once you up the ante a little bit, now you're in a live situation. Everybody's hitting. Cats start getting hurt. Cats ain't warmed up. Half of them ain't wearing their pads right. You know what I mean?
Next thing you know, Sean Taylor, rest his soul, is laying out punters.
You know what I mean? Next thing you know, you got punters with concussions. He's out cold on the sideline. You got another guy tearing his ACL on a cutback. Like, what's going on? Like, yeah, that's how it can get. So it's a good thing that this is done. I think that you can actually get better ratings for a Pro Bowl events by presenting something a little bit different, as I said, with 7-on-7 tournaments. I think there is definitely a space for that, for them to make money. So we'll see how that plays out. As I'm sure, the NFL will have something in mind. They sure as hell went and got Rihanna. They said, we're going to get them ratings, baby. Rihanna is going to be doing a halftime show this year, so get ready. You can be sure A$AP Rocky will probably pop up on there too as well.
Maybe
but that is going to be it for Lineman Live here for us, guys. We do appreciate y'all for being in here tonight. We hope everyone has a wonderful Monday evening. Go finish watching the game. I'm sure that the Cowboys will find a way to fuck this off.
It'd be easy.
So I hope everyone has a good night. Hope you guys, take it easy. We'll see you on Wednesday. I promise you all, I'm trying to get Dave should be here. Dave Richard should be here for us on our fantasy football stuff on Wednesday in the live show. So looking forward to that. Spoke with him over the weekend, and we'll be getting him on here on Wednesday. And we'll also have your Nate and Tree and 5 Points back on Wednesday as well. So we will see you all then. Hope y'all have a wonderful night. Peace out.
Peace. How about them Cowboys?